First of all, let's face it. I never even heard of you guys until. Um, so one of the good things is that expose some of this stuff. I had no idea. Jen and I are both pharmacists. I had no idea that doctors in Texas. I'm assuming that doctors in Washington were doing the same thing. I'm just assuming that they were discriminating against Medicaid patients for not being vaccinated. Now, not only, I do believe that that's probably true in Washington, because I do know parents that have taken their kids into doctors, and some doctors get hostile when you say, well, no, I don't want those vaccines right now. I mean, doctors get hostile about it. So one of the things that it did is it exposed a lot of the stuff that was going on. It exposed some of the way hospitals are taking care of people. It exposed some of the ways that, doctors and clinics were discriminating against people. And yours specifically, our topic today is specifically on vaccines. And that would have never probably been exposed as much if it wasn't for. So that's one of the good things that's happened with is these things are being exposed.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, I hate what us as a state, nation, world went through. Okay, this never should have happened on a respiratory virus. Like, it just shouldn't have, right? But there were some silver linings, and I am, we as an organization are unashamedly taking advantage of them, because so many people have woken up to the complete undue influence of big pharma in nearly every aspect of their lives. I mean, you can't see this, fast-tracked, shoddy tested vaccine that has had devastating adverse events happen and not start questioning everything. I mean, it's been you're concerned about the jabs, let me introduce you to my friend MMR. Things that we have been shouting from the rooftops about mandates and the aggressive vaccine schedule and the injuries and the compensation of these injuries. We've been shouting all these things from the mountaintops for 8 years. We finally have, it's a nice segue to bigger conversations for sure.
Well, I will tell you, and I will let Janet speak to this too, but, Janet and I are two kind of rogue pharmacists. We rebelled many years ago and we questioned a lot of things. But during COVID, we started questioning a lot of things. And I'll be really honest with you. We question our entire pharmacy education now. I mean, period. Because we just realized it was all funded. Most all of it was funded by big pharma. So why should we believe if XYZ drug is going to help your diabetes? And even though it does help your diabetes, it's going to help save your life, or blood pressure drugs, statin drugs for cholesterol. I mean, that's a big one. Whole other topic. But also vaccines. I mean, one of the things this is a rational thought, just a rational thought about vaccines is here's my question about it. And you cannot call Janet and I anti-vaxxers. We were two of the first group of pharmacists in Washington State to get certified to administer and prescribe vaccines to our patients. And one of the first ones we started questioning probably 10 or 15 years ago was flu vaccines. We're going to predict what kind of flu strain's coming out this year. So we just kind of went away. We just quit giving them and quit really talking much about them. But during COVID, one of the things that really hit me, the first one that hit me was polio. And if you talk to my grandparents who have since passed on, or you talk to my parents who are still both alive, during the 1950s, polio was going to cripple every kid. It was going to cause them to be on an iron lung. Don't let your kids go outside. It's dangerous. Keep them inside. This sounds familiar. And then all of a sudden, a magic vaccine comes around to save everybody. That was kind of like the narrative. Now, what I question, this is a rational question I have for anybody in healthcare, anybody in any layperson, scientist, non-scientist. How long had the polio virus been around before the vaccine came around? It wasn't a few years. It was hundreds, if not thousands of years. And it didn't wipe everybody out. Same thing with coronavirus. virus. I'm not saying some people didn't die. And maybe it was a man-made virus. That doesn't mean that our bodies can't fight viruses. And usually man-made viruses always revert back to their original natural form. So our bodies are designed to fight viruses for thousands of years, for millennial. So that's kind of my little take on why I started questioning all vaccines.